Welcome back. We're still discussing the creation of state police as discussed by President Bola Tinubu and the state governors last week. The modalities of implementing this state policing. I have been joined in the studio by another person who is passionate about security, but he is a politician. Sam Eke, you're welcome. Well, I like this particular combo, politician and a security expert. So, Sir Peter, continue with your discussion.
Yeah, I was just giving you the experience of Jigawa State, where the governor had an idea, knowing that this inflow from the grassroots to the top, and he decided to tackle it from there, to say, you, the village head, you cannot tell me that you don't know when a stranger enters your village. Same thing goes to the district head, same thing goes to the emir, and this hierarchy he tapped into. I say, look, if there's a Boko Haram strike in your domain, all of you along the line will be held responsible. And for the 8 years he ruled that state, there was not a single strike,
incident,
not even one. So you can see that information works better than the arm. Information works. It's stronger than weapon. So if we have the state police, and they are not the ones that somebody will go and buy arms and give to them to terrorize their own people, if they do the right thing by educating them sufficiently, it will work and work very well.
Well, Sam Eke, this question will go to you. You know, this is coming at a time when Nigerians are seriously looking up to the government and praying fervently that this renewed hope should be real. With this development, one could say that, okay, we are beginning to see renewed hope. But also, there is a concern that this could be another political tool to drag, to buy time until this tenure has elapsed. What do you think?
Well, it's still a discussion that is coming up, the issue of state police. But we all know today in Nigeria that it is time for us as a nation to redig the policing system in Nigeria. But my fears are if the governors are actually ready for state policing.
When you say if they are ready, what do you mean?
You look at funding. You look at their modus operandi. You look at how the governors have managed the electoral process in their state, which is in their care, like the local government elections in their various states. If these state executive officers will not abuse state policing, you have to look at all these factors. But it is local. Policing is local. We can't run away from it. The people at the immediate community knows where crime is being perpetrated in their communities. But we'll have to look at the advantage, disadvantage, the rot in the system. If not that everybody has his own share of the blame, both the police we have today and politicians who are holding authority for the people in Nigeria, we want to come to a point whereby we'll start agitating for state police. Security has somehow failed in some areas. We got to a point in this country where somebody said there are areas in the country that are ungovernable space. A senior person in government, ungovernable space. So those spaces that we think they are ungovernable, when you have state police, the indigents and citizens there will be the ones to bring information to government that, oh, these places are actually not ungovernable. They are governable because information is power. Moving forward, state police is what we need. But how we go about it is a different thing.
It's equally important. Now to you, Mr. Peter, as a security expert, he just mentioned about places that are ungovernable. Without mentioning them, we know these places, how they are. how do you see state police, the creation of state police in this particular place is being effective? Because these are places that even the governor somehow appears to be hopeless.
Well, like I said earlier, it is even because of those kind of situations that we need state police. For instance, if there's an area in a state that can be considered, as an ungoverned space, people are living there. And like I said earlier, there are some countries where there is no village you will step into and nobody took note of your presence. Those ungoverned spaces that we are talking about, people move in there, set up their camp, live there, build their own structure, and nobody says anything. But in these other places that I'm talking about, in 10 minutes, somebody will ask you a question. So you will discover that, okay, let me give you another example. The insurgency in Nigeria started the same time with the insurgency in Nigeria. How did the Algerians tackle theirs? This kind of approach. In every village, in every hamlet, in every settlement, there's a group of people who are regarded as government agents. The moment somebody stand up and start preaching something strange to them, somebody will say, hey, this one is not one of us. He just visited yesterday, and you can hear what he's saying. Government, are you there? We have a visitor in our midst who is telling us something strange. And the police comes and pick that person up, quietly. But here we are. The situation is such that I can live in a place for 1 year, 2 years, and nobody is taking note until I start wreaking havoc.
Okay, Mr. Sam, with the level of corruption in this country, because we know that whether we like it or not, this is a country where they say money talks, something works. It's not a word to be said, but we know how it is. And this is a society whereby even a child is already aware that once you have money, anything goes. Do you see this creation of state police tackling this corruption? How can we be able to be effective? How can the state police be effective in the midst of this deep-rooted corruption?
That was why I was saying my fears is the funding. Because a man that you want to give you information, you want to give him arms, you would also be able to take care of that man adequately. We're having issues with the current police system whereby if you move on the road, you keep hearing issues. But the level of corruption here is, if the state governors does not have the capacity to handle it, my advice is that the federal government have started a system called the constabulary kind of police, where the federal police will oversee, the governors will be the ones to pay those constabulary police. But we have seen that it has not worked. You saw the
because I was about to throw that question. Is it working?
Because you saw the videos going around where constabulary was harassing a foreign citizen who was on a trip somewhere in the southwest. So we must come with adequate measure that we have to do this thing and it must work. The governors must wake up and say, okay, if we are doing state policing, we'll be able to fund it. We'll also remove politics in it. They will be professional in their dealings. How would they be trained? Because training and retraining of these men is very, very important. It's not about coming to make public blank statement that we are creating state police. They must remove sentiment. They must treat citizens equal in their various environment. These are things we must look into. But if we just say, oh, we want to create it out of political expediency, we have seen it. There's Hisba in Kano. is also a form of state police.
Exactly, they're created by the governors.
Some governors, there is Omoteku in the southwest, it's state police. There is one in the south, it's state police. So we can see that already we have state police.
Not created by, okay, can we say they are created by government?
It is created by the act of the State House of Assembly in these various states. But I hope it will not also be a tool in the hands of the governors to oppress their political opponent. I also hope it will not be a tool for them to have rancor with the federal government and disagree and also have face-off with the police, the Nigerian police force. So these are things we must consider. We shouldn't just run into it. You will look at funding, you will look at modus operandi, you will also look at politics in it. Remember, anybody the governor appoints as the sheriff in charge of the state police, you know that person is answerable to the governor, and he wouldn't want to lose his job.
Okay.
The person will be overzealous. So we should just, to me, let's see the draft that will come out and know if it is workable, because sometimes you will draft things that are not workable. The State Electoral Commission, it is not doing what it ought to do in various states. Maybe 1 or 2 states have got it right lately. But the rest, you can see, you have 50 words in a state or 100 words in a state or 2, as the case may be. You find out that the State Electoral Commission will conduct an election, and everybody who contested in that election, whether councillorship, local government, will be from the party of the governor, which is actually wrong, which is not actually what is on ground. So these are things you also look at. This state police is a good thing. It will reduce crime. But whether corruption will be part of it, yes, corruption will be part of it. They are Nigerians. They are not living in different society. The issue of corruption is something that is affecting everybody, and everybody is involved.
I'm not involved.
No, I will tell you everybody is involved, because when you see something, you don't say something. It's part of it. When you see something and say something, when you see people doing something wrong and you say it is wrong, it's part of it. But in our society, our value in our society, has gone down. So corruption, yes, but how to tackle it is something else. So that's my take on it.
Sir, you have been to different countries, and you've also studied their security architecture, how they train their officers. If you were to advise, what should be done differently in this case?
For Nigeria, I have always advocated that we need to think out of the box. Let us have a situation where every Nigerian is given an opportunity to serve.
Okay.
Make a law to say, I know of 1 or 2 countries that run that kind of thing. As a young person between the age of 17 and 27, you must serve in the armed forces 3 years before you get to do some other things with yourself.
Yes.
And at the end of that 3 years, you take a decision whether you want to opt out to go and continue with your life, or you want to remain now as a professional soldier. Under that circumstance, you are giving that person 3 years training to go and now fit into anything. So in those countries, there's a rule that you don't get enrolled in, even into local government police, if you have not served in the armed forces. If that 3 year service is not there, nobody takes you into any of the paramilitary services if you don't have that 3 years background. So you discover that everybody has a basic training to be able to fit into any security agency or the other. For instance, you remember I said here some time ago, I said, if you want to solve the insecurity problem in Nigeria, bring all the services together, put all the problem on the table, and let each service take care of its own aspect of the job, and you have solved the insecurity problem. Very basic. What I am proposing is, let there be free access for young Nigerians to enroll into the armed forces. You don't close it up and make it a family institution and you expect that the other ones will go to the blues. That's what is happening. The day I said this in the midst of some military generals, they were almost going to cut off my head. But I stood my ground and let them know that I'm saying the truth. Let them prove me wrong. You cannot, in some other countries, they advertise entry into the academy openly, on the pages of newspaper. So every free citizen can wake up and go and enroll into the academy, get trained, and come back and be more useful. But here, getting into the academy is like, asking for your grandfather's cups. So it is not supposed to be so. That is where you begin to get it wrong. If you are trained, I'm trained, is trained, everybody is trained. The first thing you have removed is that you know what I know, and the level of harassment is removed. The corruption he's talking about, why we are not able to fight corruption, is because somebody.
Sir, I may have to come back. I may have to come back to you on this particular line of thoughts of yours. We are taking a short break. We are still discussing the creation of state police and the modalities, expectations from the committee that is going to be set up. Stay tuned.
With Glovo, you order anything you want and then receive it. You celebrate it with your whole body. Because when that tasty grilled chicken is here, the weekend starts. The ingredients for your favorite recipe just in time. And when the cake arrives, the party is on. Because receiving anything on Glovo deserves a dance. Download the app, order anything you want, and track it minute by minute until it arrives. Glovo, order anything, we deliver in minutes.
Well, welcome back. We are still discussing the creation of state police, the modalities for implementation. Our security expert was just talking about giving free access to every Nigerian to participate, to be a member of the Nigerian forces. Like other countries, you can be there for 2-3 years. If you choose to stay, you stay. If you don't want to stay, you go. I want you to finish your line of thoughts, then I'll throw up my question.
Yeah, I was going to share an experience. When I went to school, that was when cultism was rearing its ugly heads in the institution.
What year was that?
1979.
Wow. Okay.
And then there was, how do we curb this? I told my colleagues then, because it's a secret because it is known to a few people. You call it secret cult because it's known to just a few. I said, let's all go and join them. Let's all be part of it, and it will no more be a secret. Initially, some people were like, that's a crazy idea. I said, but you try it. Lo and behold, the cult in my school became useless because we all know what we know. It became useless. Freshers are coming in and we induct them into it. So you can't harass me because I know what you know. It's no more a secret. It died.
But how has that helped?
It
hasn't helped too.
No. You see, it's because we didn't do the needful. That is what, like I told you in my time, the cult group in my school disappeared because there was nothing like it. This is a cult. We go in the secret. Before you open your mouth to talk, I say, hey, I know what you know. Don't go there. So it was no more fashionable for anybody to say he's a cult member. The point I'm trying to make is that every day people say, if you make military service available to everybody, they will be killing. How many people get killed in the barracks? Are they not living there together? When you know what I know, you respect me, I respect you.
Okay, Mr. Sam, in line of what he's just said now, make it available to everybody. If you want to stay, you stay. If you want to opt out, you opt out. And in this country, we have situations whereby people have been arrested and for several crimes. In the course of investigation, you will discover that these are security agents that were dismissed from the force. And instead of using what they have for something positive, they are now using it for negativity. So if we have this scenario, wouldn't it be counterproductive?
If everybody's trained, let's say everybody is trained. He gave an example of some countries whereby it's voluntary for everybody to join the military.
We are talking about countries that have been practicing this for years.
You start one day.
Yes.
Everything you start one day. So, but if everybody is trained, the man coming to attack you will be scared. Yeah. This issue of a community being invaded by bandits and so on would not come up again. It will die a natural death. Because the person you are coming to attack has a bit of security experience. It's a good idea. Another issue you talked about, a man you said he or she is dismissed from the police force and you see him committing crime. He is already a criminal. It's a mindset. Mm-hmm. It doesn't stop the rest from gaining such knowledge or doing same thing. It's a mindset. In every system you find one or two corrupt elements. If we train a lot of persons with government resources and maybe they commit a little crime and you dismiss them, then demoting, punishing them adequately, that because there's a punishment that is better than dismissal.
Okay.
And the man goes out of job. He's already trained on how to handle security. He doesn't know any other job to do. He will go into crime. Mm-hmm. So even this dismissal thing shouldn't be in a hasty manner. You see, some crimes, you bring them back, demote them, lock them up. You know, there are things you do, public, give them a public kind of shaming them. Mm. It would prevent others. But when you dismiss a man you have trained with a lot of money, what do you expect?
I'm afraid we'll have to round up this segment because my colleague in Benin is waiting for me. Thank you very much, Mr. Sam Eke, and thank you very much, Mr. Peter Anthony, for always availing yourselves anytime we call. The discussion has been on modalities to set up the creation of a state police, as was agreed by President Bola Tinubu and the 36 state governments. We've heard it all. If everything is done and all things are equal, Nigeria will go back to those days where people can actually go to sleep with their two eyes closed. And now we will be hooking up back to Benin, where Daniel is still on standby to continue the program from there.